Toys for Bob is a game studio that has had a very eventful past 8 months now, so it has been owned for like 2 decades by Activision. And so 8 months ago in October of last year, I'm sure you know this, Activision was bought out by Microsoft, so therefore Toys for Bob was owned by Microsoft. But this only lasted for about 4 months because in February of this year, Toys for Bob announced that they are going indie. They officially were becoming an independent game studio. So obviously that meant that, hey, they can now go ahead and do whatever they want to do now without a parent company that owns them. And rightfully so. They have established themselves over the past few decades now, and really, especially in the past few years, as a dominant studio in a lot of different fields. They have done a ton of work on Call of Duty Warzone, and they've also made recent developments in the Spyro and Crash Bandicoot series. Those are 2 very big series by Activision. Overall, they're just a very well-respected studio. They do great work. So obviously, it's been on a ton of people's minds, what are they going to do now? As of right now, they still have nothing specific announced, like there's not an actual upcoming title that they've given us. I believe in the blog post they made about 3 months ago when they announced they were going indie, they talked about how they are excited because they are working on their own IP that they are making from the ground up, and that's really all they said about it. I would look that up, but as you might know, a couple weeks ago, the toysforbob.com website, it completely shut down, and now it only displays a purple tiki mask, and by the way, it still is only displaying that, so you can't really do anything else on their website. So unfortunately, I can't look up that blog post. But yeah, a lot of people were kind of speculating on what this means. A lot of people think that this may just be their new logo, and they're kind of just doing a rebranding thing right now, and maybe they'll change their website as they go forward and once they really announce their new title. But yeah, up until now, up until yesterday, we really haven't had much to go off of, what is going to be their next title. Well, they just made a tweet yesterday that kind of let us peek behind the curtain, so to speak, on what they have planned. Now, it's not much, but I think we can really get a lot from this. So they announced that they are partnering with Xbox to publish their next game. They said that they are still in very early development on whatever this is, but they said, quote, "Know that we're working hard on an experience we are so inspired about. Can't wait to share more." So obviously, what's on everybody's mind is, what is this game that is being developed now by Toys for Bob, and specifically being published by Xbox Game Studios? So to me, there are 3 very strong possibilities and 3 not so strong possibilities. Right off the bat, I think the 3 strongest possibilities are Banjo, Spyro, and Crash Bandicoot. So all 3 of those IPs are owned by Xbox, and it would make sense that Xbox would reach out to Toys for Bob to develop a revival in either of those 3 series because of just how great work Toys for Bob has been doing. I'm going to say I hope it's not Crash Bandicoot, just because we very recently had a revival for Crash Bandicoot. It was Crash Bandicoot 4. Personally, I would love it to be either Spyro or Banjo, specifically Banjo. I'm a huge Banjo guy. We have not had a Banjo game since the year 2000, and yes, I am not including Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts from 2008, and I'm sure you know why. It's just not something we like to talk about. And looking online, I think that is where the majority of the hype is at right now. A next Banjo game, a new Banjo game, or even a remastered Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie combo, which could maybe lead to a Banjo-Threeie. Now, the 3 other not as likely possibilities that I think we have are a new Conker game, a new Skylanders game, or the brand new IP that Toys for Bob announced that they are working on. So Conker and Skylanders are both great, both awesome, both are IPs that are owned by Microsoft now. I just don't think the hype behind those 2 series is as big as, say, Banjo or Spyro, and I think Xbox knows that. I think if they're reaching out to this independent game studio to work on one of their IPs, I really feel like it's going to be Banjo, Spyro, or Crash. So then it could also be this other IP that Toys for Bob is working on, but to me, I don't know, I don't think they would go independent just to finally develop their own IP only for it to be published by Xbox, by an actual Xbox or Sony company. To me, that doesn't make that much sense. I think that separate IP is a separate project from Toys for Bob right now. I think this is very strongly leaning towards an actual Xbox IP. Banjo, Spyro, or Crash seems to be the most likely options, but I'm really hoping that it's Banjo. Rare, of course, has been the developer of Banjo in the past, but Rare is obviously doing their own things now with Sea of Thieves. They've actually seen great success with that, and I just don't think there's probably anybody anymore on the Rareware team that even developed Banjo back in the day, so it really just wouldn't make sense. So yeah, I'm really hoping it's Banjo, and I'm really hoping that maybe we will hear something on Sunday, June 9th, that is Summer Games Fest, and that specifically is when Xbox is doing their showcase. If you don't know, Summer Game Fest is basically like E3. So yeah, I'm not gonna get my hopes up, only to be let down, but I don't know. Maybe next week could be big. Maybe Summer Game Fest next weekend is when we get this announcement from Xbox on what they have reached out to Toys for Bob to develop for them.